Hi, I'm Melanie Carter.
And I'm Diminique Bergevin. Welcome to Trade Talk. Today we're exploring an important issue for all businesses: how to find new customers. When prospecting goes offshore, how do you open up to new markets without spending a fortune on travel? In a few minutes, we'll share with you a conversation I had with Alan Place, a seasoned business development professional with a long list of international customers.
But first, here are a few keys to success to keep in mind when looking to grow business overseas. Always do a detailed analysis of the new market to understand the demand for your products, their competitive edge, and growth potential. Also, keep in mind that what sells in one country does not necessarily sell in another. Continent-wide strategies are not always the way to go. Cultural and social awareness drive sales. But the better you know your customer, the greater the chance for success. Use of local music or artwork can help a product take root to create its own domestic appeal. But be especially careful with language and pop culture references in your marketing campaigns.
Alan Place is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Quick Silk Inc., a company that makes software to help small and medium-sized businesses build websites. With 25 years of experience in international sales, Alan knows a thing or two about finding new customers. There are many ways of meeting new customers. You can go to a trade show, you can visit a market of interest, you can get a referral. What would you say is the best way to meet a new international customer?
As you point out, there are a number of ways of meeting them. One way that I particularly favor is trade shows. It can be an incredibly cost-effective way to be able to meet new customers. In addition, you're able to meet potential partners, alliances, or companies that you may wish to sell your product overseas if you're pursuing an indirect distribution strategy. The important point here is this: you need to work the trade show before you go. If you arrive there with a bag full of trade show trinkets and some business cards, you've largely wasted your time and money. Go to the exhibit website beforehand. Find out who the exhibitors are. Go to their websites and find out if you need to meet them. Are they competitors? Are they potential distributors or customers? And engage with them before you arrive, so that if people do come by your booth and find something of interest, great, that's gravy. But you've got an aggressive meeting schedule set up before your arrival.
Very interesting. So once you've landed that new customer, I guess the question then becomes, how do you retain the customer's loyalty and form a long-term, strong relationship with that customer?
That's a particularly difficult thing to do over distance. In its most simple terms, mind share is market share. If your customer wakes up every morning thinking your company's name, it will be as a direct result of the fact that, first of all, the product is doing what it was you said it was going to do when they bought it. But more importantly, you need to stay in touch with them. And this is one of the advantages of working with an indirect distribution channel. You can, to some degree, offload the responsibility for not only sales, but also, in some instances, support of the software. Irrespective of whether you sell direct or whether you're going through distribution channel, it's absolutely critical for a company to be in region, to travel in order to meet the customers, not only to make sure that they're satisfied, but also to meet new customers.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned about selling directly or indirectly. Is there a different approach that one company should take in meeting new customers based on their preferred distribution channel?
So I'll answer the question, but as a precursor to it, a company should consider selling directly when the product is expensive, the sales cycle is long, a year or 2 years, where there's going to be ongoing engagement with the manufacturer, where there's customization or training required. You can sell indirectly where the products are relatively inexpensive, the sales cycles are relatively short, and there isn't a great deal of need to engage with the manufacturer.
That makes sense.
So with that as a basis, if you've decided that you are going to sell indirectly, it's important to be able to engage on an ongoing basis with your distributors in order to be able to not only establish loyalty with them, but also to make sure that the end users, the customers that they're selling to, know that you're providing ongoing support to the distributors.
Thank you very much, Alan, for your expertise.
Thank you very much indeed. Pleasure to be here.
There are many things to consider when trying to find new international customers, not the least of which is how you'll get your product to the end user. Having a reliable distribution network can often be the key to success. Export Development Canada has experts who can help you be competitive in international markets. Recently, I had a chance to talk to Chris Dallaire, the Director of Sales and Marketing Operations at EDC, who had some interesting advice to share. what are the top 3 most important steps for identifying international customers?
The top 3 things that I think someone should be thinking about is market growth is the first one. So when we're talking about market growth, will your product actually sell in a particular market? And what's your competitive advantage? Are you a lower cost? Can you get production at a better rate? So those are some things that you have to think about. The second is competitiveness. So who's the competition in the market? What's the feasibility of your product being successful in the market? And then the third is the business environment and understanding if there's foreign governments that will actually support you. Are they friendly to you going and exporting into that market?
Right.
And what are some of the risks that you should consider?
Some markets are easier to tap in to start than others, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And how can EDC help with the process of finding buyers internationally?
Well, EDC has a ton of resources, and the first thing I would do is I would encourage anyone to look at our website. I think that our website has a lot of good country info on there. There's a lot of white papers. There's a lot of good resources and links that really can help any organization understand where they should be going and what EDC can do to help out. I would also encourage anyone to reach out to us, and we're here to help support exporters, and I think we're actually exporting experts. So
Right.
what we should be doing is making sure that we're here for you and we're providing the right types of products. So and we also create matchmaking opportunities. So if there are potential markets that you might not even recognize, EDC can help you with that.
Thank you. And in your opinion, what are the 2 or 3 major mistakes that companies tend to make when they're going out internationally?
Well, I think the first is not understanding your market.
Right.
So really taking the time to research it, to understand what's the best market to go into. Is it feasible? Is it really going to sell your product? The second is understanding the market sensitivities. There's a lot of different cultures and different traditions and styles that are out there, and you really have to understand those before you go into that market. It's
You
not
may
necessarily
need to adapt your product by changing the package maybe, or...
Absolutely. And then the third would be understanding the suppliers, because you have to get to know who they are they reputable? So really understanding that to make your product work.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
So as we've learned, one of the first decisions a company needs to make when selling internationally is whether they're going to be selling directly to the end user or through a distributor.
And as you're trying to find a distributor, you want to do the right due diligence. So you'll want to make sure that the distributor has the right market knowledge, the right industry expertise, and also that they're financially sound to be able to represent you appropriately. And also you want to make sure that your product are not entering into a conflict of interest with other products that that company or that distributor is representing.
If your product is expensive or technically complex, you may want to sell directly to the end user, in which case attending trade shows could be a good way to meet those end users, or spending time in the market, both with your business development staff as well as your technical staff, to answer any pointed questions your end users might have. Over time, developing a local representation is useful so that your end users can ask questions in the same time zone and in their own language very easily.
Absolutely. And as Chris mentioned, there are other organizations that are there to help you foster these relationship with distributors or end users. EDC being one of them, with all the local representations that we have across the world, and also the trade commissioners. If you'd like to download a copy of our white paper research document on how to find and keep international customers, go to edc.ca/find-customers. Thanks for watching. I am Melanie Carter.
And I'm Dominique Bergevin. Until next time, keep talking trade.